think we need to have transparency around what's going on. I think one situation that, frankly, where we saw the government was certainly obfuscating, didn't have any transparency, was Anthony Fauci, who we're getting his diaries today, where he was purposely obfuscating about
Anthony Fauci.
That's actually something where we know.
That can't be by accident. That cannot be by accident, that the mere mention of this man's name caused everybody else in the room to go, oh, wait, don't talk about Lord Fauci. What's wrong with y'all? What? I can't even talk about it? We can't even bring it up? 2026, July, halfway through the year, we can't bring it up? Can't even talk about it?
Purposely obfuscating.
We're sitting here talking about Americans who were killed in theater, okay, as a result of a war. We are not going to pivot to Anthony Fauci's diary.
We are not going to pivot. We are not going to have that kind of discussion. Not on my show. Why? We're all adults here. We can't even talk, don't even talk about Anthony Fauci? Ooh, okay.
That's a
but you're saying that this is a purposeful obfuscation. We don't know that it was a purposeful obfuscation.
That we learned this weekend,
it was.
Isaiah, the other thing we learned this weekend is that the president has been warned by his own.
Didn't even want to talk about it. Let's move on. And you saw I forget her name, Monahan, the white woman. She's like, seriously? Did you just tell me to shut up and then ignore me? And then blow it off and go to another thing? Do you realize what's coming tomorrow, Abby? There's a hearing in Capitol Hill where little Lord Fauci is going to have to come and maybe answer or not answer. It's huge news. You know, there's this diary out there, right? The diary that makes people like cringe. The diary is cringing because of so many different items. Let me see if I can bring up some of these items for you, because the best one I found, because I was looking for not a chronological order, but somebody who compiled it from all that little stuff that you saw in the paper. And one of the people I found was this profile called Kanoka the Great. It said, Fauci's diary says he privately put the virus's fatality rate at 0.2 to 0.3%. Under oath, weeks later, which will come up tomorrow, he said it was 10x. Yet in his little diary room, it's no big deal. It's only 0.2, 0.3. But I'm going to tell everybody, it's the worst thing ever. Let's shut down everything. February 8th, private diary, case fatality, no more than 0.2 to 0.3. March 10th on Hannity, the mortality is for about 2 to 2.5. It's probably lower than that, close to 1, but even if it's 1, it's 10x more lethal than the seasonal flu. March 11th, the stated fatality rate of this overall is about 3%. He was picking numbers out of his ass. So much for the science. If you count all the cases of a symptomatic infection, that probably brings the mortality down to 1, which means it's 10x more deadly than the flu. March 27th, the mortality of this is about 10x the flu. It's at least 1%. This was on Jon Stewart's Daily Show. He wrote 0.2 to 0.3 in his journal, then told the public over and over a number 3 to 5 times higher than that. Can you explain that, Dr. Fauci, how you were saying it was one number and then all of a sudden it became a different number? No, you can't. You can't. Then this one I love. And these are all directly from that diary. March 21, deaths 9,800. Big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. He wrote this about himself. My national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It's not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world, as he took out the baby oil. March 22nd, cases continue to soar, 30,000 in the U.S. with 400 deaths. Press is going wild with me as the baby oil was flying. The press is going wild with me. Who says that about themselves and then writes it down? Front page, Washington Post. These are all quotes. Yesterday, an op-ed by Maureen Dowd in New York Times about me. Next quote, profile by Peter Nicholas on me in Atlantic. He tracked the body count and his press clippings on the same page. This guy had to go through more baby oil than P. Diddy. He loved himself. He probably had a mirror on the ceiling. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's fantastic. They're talking about me. It was a big joke to him. It was puffing up his chest. I'm just making up numbers that I'm on every newspaper, every television show. They all love me. While people's family members were dying alone.
His diary also shows a strange obsession.
Look, Laura, when you read these things, what emerges is a guy obsessed with his own celebrity and any celebrity, really. At one point, he writes of Julia Roberts, when my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen and get a glass of water.
So rad that we have maybe the...
This guy must have never got any attention as a kid. He must not have got much attention as an adult or a young adult, where all of this was so, it made him feel so good. Like, you know, I'm kidding about the baby oil, but as you hear some of this stuff, you might think yeah, this is probably what was going on. Sure, the red lights were on and the mirrors were, because it's sick. But it's more sick that these actors and actresses and media people fawned over this guy like he walked on water. Now, understand, Julia Roberts is an actress. But this thing, this whole, as you're looking back into 2022, you're like, wait a second. Why were they hoodwinking people like this?
Coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have
I've made nudie movies and I've been kissed by George Clooney, but oh my God, here comes Anthony Fauci. Huh? What? Oh, I did Richard Gere and we did Pretty Women and I played a lady of the night, but oh my God, this is Anthony Fauci. Seriously, Julia?
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is such a thrill. How are you?
Pretty good, I guess. You know, it's a little bit like running on fumes for a couple of months, but
I would imagine this is a thrill for me because you truly have emerged as a personal hero for me, and you've been this.
I don't know how much she got paid. I really don't know how much she got paid, but the fix was in. And as we're seeing the result of it now, so many of these younger people and old white liberals, they're done. They were watching a movie, but they thought they were in the movie. They thought it was real life. You're my personal hero. He's a doctor. He's a doctor that doesn't even treat you or anyone you know. Personal hero? Your mailman's more of a hero than Anthony Fauci.
It's true north, I think, for a lot of people. And it's so deeply, deeply appreciated. So just to have this little corner of your time for us is such a joy. So thank you.
It's my pleasure to be with you, Ms. Robertson, and thank you for doing this.
He didn't even know her name. He said Robinson, and she still smiled through it. Hey, Fauci, when your assistants brought you in the room, didn't you know it was Julia Roberts? There is no Robertson or Robinson. Here, listen to that again, just in case you missed it. And I don't know how she let it go, but she didn't care.
To have this little corner of your time for us is such a joy. So thank you.
It's my pleasure to be with you, Ms. Robertson, and thank you for doing this. It's very important.
golly, you're really like my personal hero right now.
Now, he was apparently doing a lot of celebrity house calls, Laura, during this period. And they had bought into the Fauci publicity machine. Laura, you can't make this up. So there's the moment that he writes about in the diary. And as you mentioned earlier, I got to read this quote. He says, "It's not hyperbole to say I am the most famous and talked about person in the country." And
when I heard this, Robin and I were sitting there watching this last night, and I'm like, they're making this up. There's no way that he actually said that. Did he? Could somebody have actually written that? I mean, I played in front of, big stadiums, and I worked with rock bands, and we did concerts and festivals, 50, 60, 100,000 people wanting to get my autograph and stuff. And I never went home. These people love me. Oh, they love me so. And if I did, Robin would make sure to tell me, they don't know you. I know you. I smelt you. Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. And so then I had to verify it, of course. And as I verified it, that's where, I came up and found the actual page document where it is. There is the page document. So if you guys want to verify anything you hear in this section, I'm showing it to you right now. Go ahead and follow, or go look at the Kanoka, the great profile. It did the best compilation I could find on X, and sure it is right there. Where is it? It's not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country, and one of the most recognizable persons in the world. The guy was stuck on himself.
Anthony Fauci, how did he say this?
No, but Raymond,
I've got more. I've got more coming. I've got more.
But Raymond, really quickly, he is managing, right, the response to this pandemic that he says is the worst thing ever. And yet he has time to sit down with pretty woman. Like, what? How do you have time to do that if you're Anthony Fauci?
Not only Julia Roberts, I can top it. He was also apparently doing telehealth counseling with Barbara Streisand, okay?
All right, so if you didn't hear this last night, Babs, I think you need to sue Dr. Fauci that he actually put this in his diary, because what he's about to read in regards to Barbara Streisand, even Barbara must have went, what the hell did this guy do? Listen to what he says about Barbara.
In addition to, this is from the diary, in addition to diagnosing, quote, a lesion on her buttocks, he writes,
they just told the world that that Fauci and Streisand were talking about a lesion on her buttocks. Babs, oh my gosh, we all know now that you had, like, I don't know, some sort of herpes scabby going on. And little Lord Fauci writes it in his, his diary as he's squirting on some more baby oil. And now it's out there for the world. This sicko, this absolute sicko, put this in his diary.
Great call with Barbara Streisand. I told her that I work listening to her songs on Alexa. She really did not know what Alexa was. I brought the phone over to Alexa and asked to play songs by Barbara Streisand. When the song came on loud and clear, she started laughing and absolutely loved it. No, Laura, what?
Barbara didn't need the money. Julia Roberts didn't need the money. What the hell were you people thinking? And now you're exposed. You're exposed as blithering idiots over Anthony Fauci. Never knowing that Anthony Fauci was doing his best Jack Handy imitation and writing all this stuff down. Now, at the same time, hey, Babs, if you didn't have, bumps on your butt, maybe you should sue him. I don't know, because, damn.
I mean, so now we have kids are depressed, school is out of session, now we've got a suicide rate going through the roof, but happy days are here again for Anthony Fauci. I'm glad he had a good time. Nobody rained on that parade, that's for sure.
Wait, Raymond, do we have any other word on how that lesion on her buttocks healed?
Well, he does say that it healed up, and he advised her to get the mRNA vaccine, which leads to all these horrible outcomes. So Bab's lawyers, I'm sure, may be calling Grand Park's committee before
Raymond,
it's
what
all
was
over.
that?
You know what's sad about this is that here in 2026, as we're looking back, the absurdity, the insanity of everything you're hearing right now is mixing with the memory of pain that we all went through. I personally didn't have anyone that was in my, actually, we don't know. We don't know. Even with Robin, there were some relatives that passed on. It's kind of suddenly, but they wouldn't tell us it was because of the thing. And so we never got a confirmation because nobody ever died of the thing. It was always something else, but it always a couple months after getting a shot. And so it is like a bittersweet type thing consuming this stuff, is because now everybody should be understanding, oh my gosh, my friends, my family members, my coworkers, they went through all of this heartache while this guy is sitting home doing whatever he did, talking to Julia Roberts and Barbara Streisand and this person and writing all this stuff in his diary. From a scientific perspective, he details the 2014 thing, and he says Fauci's records multiple lapses at the CDC, including personnel not adhering to protocol while handling anthrax, brucella, and influenza. If the CDC could make mistakes like this, then virtually anyone can. I mean, it was flippant. I literally have 12 tabs of quotes. 12. I mean, let me show you. Okay, there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four, there's five, there's six, there's seven. It's voluminous. I'm showing you the stuff that can hopefully bring some levity to the situation. But if you want to go look at some of this stuff, I urge you to go to that profile. Like I said, it's the most exhaustive compilation I have been able to find. And it literally it coincides with every single drop inside of his diary. We were screwed. We were lied to. We were taken advantage of. We were stolen from. Stolen the lives of people we loved and money out of your bank. You couldn't do certain things. You couldn't work. You couldn't go to church, go to liquor store, all to try and take down that one man.
What was that terrible movie of hers, The Mirror Has Two Faces?
Yes,
right?
The Mirror Has Two Faces.
The buttocks has two faces. What? This is crazy.
Well,
all right. What was going on with Ari Emanuel, the talent agent, Raymond, and Fauci?
Yeah.
All right. So Ari Emanuel is Rahm Emanuel's brother. Now, I don't know if you guys, I love the show. I don't know if you ever watched the show Entourage. And Entourage, they say, was about Marky, I still call him Marky Mark, Mark Wahlberg, and how he became a star. And Ari, in the show, was patterned after Ari Emanuel. And Ari Emanuel is a big-time power-hitting agent in Hollywood. And so I used to love the show Entourage. It kind of reminded me of some of the things I went through, and I loved it. And so now Ari Emanuel is seeing the cachet of Fauci and thinks like, let's cash in. I can make you a big star.
Is a moment in the diary where Fauci writes, got a call from Ari Emanuel today. He wants to come over to the house for dinner and explain to me how naive I am and not fully appreciating just how much money I can get from book deals, films, speeches.
So he's now exposed Ari Emanuel and saying that this whole thing, man, I can cash in. I'm Anthony Fauci. All these people are sick, dying, or dead, and I'm figuring out how I can cash in. And I've got Babs, and I've got Julia Roberts, and now I've got the #1 agent in all of Hollywood calling me. This is the #1 guy, the guy who's featured on the show Entourage on HBO. This guy, the guy, is calling me.
It's very obviously hot to be my agent when I step down from the United States government. I mean, the guy he's clearly on the make the entire time. The diary is.
That's the key. He was clearly on the make the entire time. This was a lottery ticket to Anthony Fauci. The fact that he was hobnobbing and doing all this, and the fact, I don't know who called who. I guess he said Ari Emanuel called him, which I don't know how that happened. How did Ari Emanuel just happen to get Anthony Fauci's phone number? But, maybe they had some people in their co-network or something. But now, Ari didn't say, I'm worried about the disease. Can you help me? He didn't say, I've got some friends or family members who are sick. Can you help them? No. Ari Emanuel says, we can make some serious cash. Funny. Everybody's supposed to be freaking out because this thing is falling out of the sky and people are dropping dead in China. And we're parking boats in Manhattan because we can't keep up with the corpses. So Ari didn't say, I got you on the phone. Can you help me out? No, that's not what he said. You find that interesting? Same thing with Julia Roberts. She didn't say, hey, Dr. Fauci, I've got some friends, family members, other actors I've worked with. Can you help us out? No. And Ari's first thing is, we're going to get paid. We got to make some money.
Tear-inducing because his kind of lack of self-awareness and how bad this looks in print. Who would write this stuff?
Only a narcissistic, evil, satanic, demonic scumbag would. That's the only person who would. Nobody else. Laughing it up, chuckling, writing all these diary entries. I'm kidding around by saying he used the P. Diddy method. But at the same time, have you ever read something from an actual adult that said stuff like that? They love me. Oh, they love me. And Barbara and I talked, and what? This was a big joke to him. He must have came back and said, oh, CNN's got the ticker up there. These people are all freaking out. People are dying. And they can't trace it back because people died from stuff. What? My sister right now is having blood clot issues. And it was funny because Robin was talking to my other sister and she just kind of said, did she ever get the thing? And I'm like, yeah, a couple of them. Oh. Was she sick before that? Mm-mm. But she's been sick for like 2 years now. Yeah. Okay. But nobody's telling her at the hospital and the doctors, nobody's saying, hey, listen, I think it happened because of this or that. But wait. There's even more. There's something you're about to hear that is so bad, so reprehensible that you might cry. Wait to hear this.
What do Fauci's private diaries reveal most to you?
Well, let me add one thing to that kind of litany of parade of horribles that we just saw. We had in our country, because of Dr. Fauci's leadership and other reasons, we had the highest mortality rate from COVID of any country in the world. So we literally did worse than any nation in the world. We had a death rate in our country of 3,000 per million population. There were other countries, for example, Africa, all of the countries in Africa averaged about 350 deaths, so 1/10 of what we had in this country. There were nations like Nigeria and Haiti that had 14 per million population, so 1/200th of what we had. We could not have done better. The mismanagement of this pandemic and these diaries, and then the media malpractice that told us all we had to trust the experts, and that he was the expert that they elevated. And anybody who did not give complete blind faith to these expert opinions, which we now know were lies, was marginalized, vilified, demonized, censored.
Canceled. canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I pointed out that this almost certainly came from the Wuhan lab, and I lost my Instagram was canceled with 1 million followers for misinformation. I never put any misinformation up. I put up all the things that we now know are true, and it was
that we now know are true. Why were all these other countries having such a much smaller death rate? I remember seeing something back during that time, and somebody couldn't believe it. They went out to Amish country, and Amish people were fine. And somebody asked them, because we don't have television. And it might have been a joke, but it made so much sense. We weren't sitting on the television wondering, oh my God, everybody's dying. What are we going to do? And causing mass hysteria. And you think of some of the countries that RFK Jr. just mentioned, they didn't have CNN running 24/7 either. Hey, you sick? Yeah, well, call the witch doctor, fix him up, he'll be all right. But here, it was you couldn't get away from it. Every station was talking about it. So if you don't have television, you probably just thought you had a bad stomach ache or something. How is there any other explanation how all of the other countries who have less in terms of their ability to keep people safe, they didn't have nearly the death rate that we did? Wow.
Cold misinformation, and the press was part of this collaboration. It was corrupt, and it did tremendous damage to the media in this country and to America's faith in that very important democratic institution. It also did incalculable damage to public health. My agency, when I walked into it, had a less than 30% trust from the American people, down from about 80% before the pandemic. Americans no longer trust public health.
That's terrible.
Because they were lied to. And you asked about the diaries. And we produced these. You know, it took us about 8 months to dig these out of 11 separate servers where they had been sequestered and secreted. And we handed them over this week to Rand Paul.
So the people were asking, where did the diaries come from? Number one, they were on servers. Why were they on servers? I don't know. 11 different servers that they buried and sequestered so nobody could get to them. So this wasn't by accident. This happened because they were looking for something. They knew it was there. I don't know how they knew it was there, but imagine there's 11 servers. How do we find out all this information? I don't know. Maybe an algorithm. Maybe you had some really good people with computers and knew how to find stuff. As I was listening to that, my ears perked up. I'm like, what? It was buried in 11 different servers. And somehow they were able to piece them all together to find all of this information. And it's taken us, what, almost a year and a half to get it. They buried it. And somehow they went through all this information and found it. The whole time they knew it was there. This might be the reason why he was pardoned. Because whoever was in charge of wiping the slate clean before Trump took office kind of effed up and left too many things behind, as you're seeing with the DNI, as you're seeing they're finding this stuff. So they did the best they can. They tried to bury it. I don't believe in burn bags. Sorry, Dan Bongino. I don't think any of this shit was in a burn bag. I think we brought in the best forensic auditors in the world who probably worked with Elon and said, show us how we can go through this mountain of servers, this mountain of documentation. Tell me how we, boom. And all of a sudden, things started happening. Oh, Doge is going away. No, they didn't. They did what they were supposed to do. They had the time that's needed, and they did it. By the way, now, many of you are using Grok, many of you are using ChatGPT, many of you are using Claude. Think about what you now know about how to do certain things with AI. What you have gleaned over the last few months, maybe, of like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. Now think about the people who wrote that, what they could do with AI. what they have been trying and making sure as this stuff evolves. See, we're on the outside looking in. We're trying to see what's on the other side of the fence. They are in the other side of the fence, locked away in some building somewhere with no windows, and they are just banging code out. Grok 4.5 just came out yesterday. I'm like, 4.5? How the hell are you doing so many different evolutions? Because the thing is learning. It is learning and learning. I remember 6 months ago trying to do thumbnails, and they would look all jacked. Now we're doing thumbnails that when I worked at an advertising agency would have cost you $2,000 to make one image. It comes out now in about 20 seconds. So I think you guys have got to start teaching yourself to look behind the curtain and realize something here. Oh, they probably did all of this. Somebody did. There's not enough man hours where you can find all this documentation in 11 different servers.
Oh, and Ron Johnson, because they already have ongoing investigations and should see this. But I think the starkest impression that you get from reading these diaries is this massive dichotomy between what he was saying privately and what he was simultaneously saying publicly. He says in his diaries on January 30th that the Wuhan lab could not possibly be the source of the virus.
Oh, we know that was all false.
And then, well, we all know it, but now his diary, he says he knew that, and yet for 2 years he told us that was.
But he was given a pardon prospectively from the last administration. We don't know if it was an auto pen pardon. It doesn't really matter for legality purposes, but Americans want to know, a lot of them, is there going to be any accountability for trillions of dollars lost, children's education destroyed, and public health industry reputation shattered?
Yeah, and millions of people injured. You know, he lied about masks, he lied about social distancing, he lied about the transmission, he lied about natural immunity.
He lied about it all. We now know everything was fake. The mask, the social distancing, all of it was fake because of what he said. He lied to make sure that was put into the public domain.
He lied about the capacity, as you just said, of the vaccine to prevent infection, to prevent it. He got vaccinated. I'm very...
Listen to this. If you guys haven't heard this, this is the big payoff. This thing should have been worldwide news. Every single television, radio, podcast should have had this news the moment it happened. I want you to listen very closely to what he says right here, and it's going to blow you the F away.
Public press conference in January of 2020, and then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction.
Come on. The guy who's telling everybody else to take this thing, he himself had a heart attack, basically. His heart nearly blew up because of what happened, and nobody said a word. Nobody in the Biden administration, nobody in the media, none of the doctors, nobody said anything. After he took the jab, he nearly got taken out. They lied about everything. That one statement is what is central to all of this information. The guy himself who was going on TV, using his baby oil, talking to Julia Roberts and Barbara Streisand and Ari Emanuel, almost kicked the bucket from the very thing he was trying to tell everybody was safe. Look it up. I heard that and I went, oh my God. That was the single biggest news story of the entire pandemic. And nobody, not even Fox, covered it.
Which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody. He got treated for it privately by the best doctors in America. At the same time, he was telling everybody that was not an adverse event.
Is there anything else we're missing from these diaries that has not been released that you can share with us tonight?
I don't think, I have to say a lot of this stuff is in my book, but based upon other documents. But there's something very dramatic, even for me, of seeing him write it in his own journal, confessing to being wrong, to lying about all
also
this
loving
stuff.
his own press. I mean, they're going on and on. Well, I'm the most famous person in the world, internationally and nationally. I can't even go out to a restaurant because people want to take pictures of me. I mean, even if that was true, but why would you write it? That's just a bizarre thing. For all they say about Trump, Trump's an egomaniac. That's all they say about Trump. He has a healthy ego, for sure. Anyone who's president is. But this was America's doctor, Mr. Secretary. Why would he waste time talking about how beloved he is?
Yeah, I mean, and the worst part is that giddy narcissism that you see throughout the diary is juxtaposed against really bad public health decisions. So his focus was on self-promotion, clearly, and nobody can read these diaries and say this is a political response. His focus was on promoting himself, on getting on TV, and not doing public health.
Didn't he get some award? He's working at Georgetown, I believe, or got some position at Georgetown. What do you say to Georgetown University tonight?
Well, I say read the diaries. Read, and then, you asked about the possibility of him actually facing justice.
He's a professor there.
He's going to testify in front of Rand Paul's committee this week.
And that actually is tomorrow. So should be some interesting viewing. Well, let's take a look at that tomorrow. Maybe it'll be short. Maybe he'll just say, come in and take the Fifth Amendment on everything, even though he's already been pardoned. Don't know how that's going to work out.
Has immunity against all of the things that he did prior to President Biden signing, or the electronic pen signing his pardon, but he could perjure himself now. So there are many things that he said that we know are lies, and Rand Paul presumably is going to ask him about those things. And if he lies again, then he could be subject to perjury prosecution.
I hope you'll come back, because I don't think we've seen the end of this. You have done an incredible job in your book on this topic. A lot of people wish they hadn't gotten that shot. A lot of people that come up to that, I wish I never did it. I was scared. I wanted to travel. They scared people into getting an experimental shot. That itself is that's taking away our human liberties.
Yeah, and one of the, I'll be very quick, but one of the crimes that he committed was failing to stratify risk. So he told us we were all at, 5 or 7%. Right. Children were at functionally 0%. So there was no upside to them taking that vaccine, and yet it was given to all of them.
Masking children, giving shots to infants. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. I know some of you guys are watching this and going, I cannot believe. I saw some of the questions. People like, why did he take it? Did he take it? Maybe he was that cocky. Maybe he thought he had a different badge. Could be. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But the other part, we do know the answer. And he wrote it. See, that's the thing when people are like, I don't believe it. Well, hold on a second. I didn't say it. RFK Jr. didn't say it. And Laura Ingraham didn't say it. Fauci said it. Fauci said 5 months after taking it, I had a pulmonary infarction. That nobody would know. So it's funny because when people put on that conspiracy thing, I don't believe it. I don't think that would have happened. Why would he ever do it? I don't know why he would have done it, but he did it because he was the one who wrote it in his diary. So when you're looking for that question or that answer, we'd have to ask him. Maybe Rand Paul can say, why did you take it? If you knew this and knew that and how other people were reacting, why did you take it? I don't know, but he didn't write it with his hand. He typed it in his diary saying, I took it and now I'm sick. Because RFK Jr. and I and Laura and now you wouldn't know it except for it was his words. That's how you know it's real. Because nothing else is. Everything else was a lie. Maybe he lied about no, he couldn't have lied about that because he had to go get treatment. They now know where to look to make sure he had to go to get treatment for his pulmonary infarction. He almost killed himself. I don't know, maybe he got high in his own supply. I can't tell you. But the fact is, this guy goes up in front of Congress again tomorrow, and I hope he doesn't do something stupid and try to get around it. Crazy.